Most men completely miss the signals. They're looking for Hollywood romance, waiting for dramatic declarations of love, searching for obvious green lights that will never come. Meanwhile, the woman who's actually drawn to them is standing right there, sending signals so subtle, so psychologically profound, that only a man who understands human nature can decode them. Here's what nobody tells you about feminine attraction. It operates on frequencies most men can't hear. While you're waiting for her to make it obvious, she's already told you everything you need to know. The problem isn't that women are confusing. The problem is that you've been programmed to look for the wrong things. Today, we're going to strip away the Hollywood fantasy and dive deep into the psychological reality of how women actually communicate interest. This isn't about pickup lines or manipulation tactics. This is about understanding the ancient dance between masculine and feminine energy that's been playing out for thousands of years. When a woman is secretly attracted to you, her body starts speaking a language her conscious mind might not even recognize. She becomes a mirror of your energy, but with one crucial difference. She amplifies it back to you in ways that test your awareness. Watch how she positions herself in group settings. If she's consistently angling her body towards you, even when talking to others, her subconscious has already made a choice. This isn't accidental. The human body naturally orients toward what it values most in any given moment. But here's where most men get it wrong. They see this and think it means she wants them to make a move immediately. Wrong. This is her unconscious way of creating an energy field around both of you. She's testing whether you can hold space without becoming needy, whether you can receive her attention without immediately trying to convert it into something else. The Stoics understood something profound about human nature. Everything meaningful happens in the space between intention and action. She's creating that space. Your job isn't to collapse it with desperate moves. Your job is to remain present within it. Here's a pattern that will change how you see female psychology forever. When a woman is truly interested, she doesn't make herself constantly available. Instead, she becomes strategically unavailable, but in ways that keep you thinking about her. She texts you something thoughtful, then disappear for hours. She'll be incredibly present during conversations, then suddenly have plans that take her away. This isn't playing games. This is her feminine nature testing your masculine ability to remain centered regardless of her presence or absence. Most men fail this test catastrophically. They interpret her strategic unavailability as rejection, so they either withdraw completely or become clingy and desperate. Both responses tell her everything she needs to know about your emotional maturity. The woman who wants you is actually teaching you how to want her properly. She's showing you that real attraction exists in the tension between connection and space, between intimacy and independence. If you can remain calm and confident whether she's texting you or not, whether she's available or not, you've passed her deepest test. This is ancient feminine wisdom wrapped in modern dating behavior. She's not trying to frustrate you. She's trying to see if you're the kind of man who can hold his center, regardless of external circumstances. When a woman secretly wants you, she'll start sharing things that she doesn't share with other men. But here's the psychological trap most men fall into. They think this vulnerability is an invitation to fix, save, or solve her problems. It's not. When she tells you about her struggles, her fears, her dreams, she's not looking for solutions. She's looking for presence. She's testing whether you can hold space for her emotional reality without trying to change it, fix it, or make it about you. This is perhaps the most sophisticated test a woman can give a man. She's essentially asking, can you be strong enough to let me be weak without making my weakness your responsibility? Most men completely misunderstand this dynamic. They hear her sharing something personal and immediately jump into problem-solving mode. They think they're being helpful. Actually, they're failing her deepest test of masculine strength. The man she secretly wants is the one who can listen without judgment, offer presence without agenda, and remain emotionally stable while she processes whatever she needs to process. This isn't about being passive. This is about understanding that true masculine strength is the ability to remain unmoved by emotional storms while still caring deeply about the person experiencing them. Here's something that will revolutionize your understanding of female attraction. Women are drawn to men who challenge them, but not in the ways you think. When she's secretly attracted to you, she'll start testing your boundaries, your values, your convictions. She'll playfully disagree with things you say. She'll present alternative viewpoints. She'll push back against your decisions. Most men interpret this as opposition or disrespect. They either back down to avoid conflict or become defensive and argumentative. Both responses kill attraction instantly. What she's actually doing is much more profound. She's testing whether you have a strong enough sense of self to maintain your position without needing her agreement. She's seeing if you can disagree with her while still respecting her perspective. She's checking whether your confidence is real or just a performance that crumbles under pressure. The woman who challenges you is giving you a gift. She's showing you exactly where your confidence is real and where it's just an act. If you can remain calm, centered, and true to yourself while she tests your boundaries, you've demonstrated the kind of unshakable masculine presence that creates deep attraction. This isn't about being stubborn or inflexible. This is about having such a clear sense of who you are and what you stand for that external pressure doesn't move you off your center. In our modern world, attention is the ultimate currency, and women understand this better than most men realize. When a woman is secretly attracted to you, she becomes very strategic about how she invests her attention. She'll remember details about conversations you had weeks ago. She'll bring up things you mentioned in passing. She'll notice changes in your mood, your appearance, your energy. But here's the key. She'll do this subtly, almost invisibly. This is her way of showing you that you matter to her without making herself vulnerable to rejection. She's creating an economy of attention where you become increasingly valuable to her. But she's doing it in ways that maintain her emotional safety. Most men are completely blind to this dynamic. They're so focused on getting attention that they miss when it's being freely given. They don't realize that when a woman consistently remembers your stories, asks follow-up questions about your life, or notices subtle changes in your behavior, she's essentially telling you that you occupy significant mental space for her. This is how feminine attraction works. It's not loud or obvious. It's consistent and deep. The woman who wants you is already treating you like someone important in her life. She's just doing it quietly. Perhaps the most sophisticated indicator of secret attraction is how a woman matches and amplifies your emotional state. This is pure psychology, operating below the level of conscious awareness. When you're calm and centered, she becomes more relaxed around you. When you're excited about something, she finds herself getting energized too. When you're focused and purposeful, she starts behaving more intentionally herself. This isn't mimicry, this is resonance. Her nervous system is literally syncing with yours because attraction, at its deepest level, is about finding someone whose energy feels like home. But here's where most men sabotage themselves. They think this energy matching means they should try to control her emotional states, or they become so focused on monitoring her responses that they lose touch with their own center. The moment you start performing your emotions to get a reaction, the resonance breaks. The moment you start trying to manage her feelings, the attraction dies. What she's drawn to is your authentic emotional state, not your attempt to create a certain effect. The Stoics had a word for this: authenticity. They understood that the most attractive thing about any person is their commitment to being genuinely themselves, regardless of how others respond. When a woman secretly wants you, she starts unconsciously weaving you into her future. She'll make casual comments about events months away, assuming you'll still be around. She'll mention plans or dreams that somehow include space for you. This isn't her asking for commitment. This is her psychological way of testing whether you can envision a future that includes her without panicking about it. Most men either completely miss these subtle future projections or react to them with immediate fear about commitment and expectations. Both responses reveal a fundamental misunderstanding of what's happening. She's not trying to trap you or force a relationship. She's trying to see if you're the kind of man who can think beyond the present moment, who can consider possibilities without making immediate decisions about them. This is a test of emotional maturity. Can you hear her casual mention of future events without either dismissing them or treating them as relationship pressure? Can you participate in conversations about possibilities without committing to specific outcomes? The man she secretly wants is one who can engage with the future as a realm of potential without needing to control or define it immediately. Here's something most dating advice gets completely wrong. When a woman is attracted to you, she doesn't become agreeable and submissive. She becomes more herself, more opinionated, more challenging, more complex. This is her way of testing whether your attraction to her is based on who she actually is, or on some fantasy version of her that you've created in your mind. The woman who wants you will show you her full personality, including the parts that might be difficult, stubborn, or complicated. She's essentially asking, will you still want me when you see that I'm a complete human being, not just a projection of your desires? Most men fail this test because they wanted the fantasy, not the reality. They become disappointed or frustrated when she reveals dimensions of her personality that don't match their idealized version of her. But the woman who's showing you her complexity is giving you the ultimate gift, the opportunity to be attracted to who she actually is. This is the foundation of real connection, not the shallow attraction based on incomplete information. Perhaps the most telling sign that a woman secretly wants you is how she responds to your consistency, not your grand gestures or dramatic moments, but your day-to-day reliability. She starts paying attention to whether you do what you say you'll do, whether you show up when you say you will, whether your behavior matches your words over time. This isn't her being judgmental or keeping score. This is her feminine intuition assessing whether you're the kind of man who can be trusted with something precious. Her heart. Women have evolved to be extremely sensitive to consistency because throughout human history, their survival and the survival of their children often depended on choosing men who could be relied upon over the long term. When she starts noticing your patterns, your habits, your reliability, she's unconsciously evaluating you as a potential long-term partner. This is one of the deepest forms of attraction, the recognition that you might be someone she can build something lasting with. When a woman secretly wants you, something ancient awakens in her, the desire to protect your peace, your reputation, your well-being. This isn't maternal instinct. This is partnership instinct. She'll defend you in conversations when you're not around. She'll be protective of your time and energy. She'll become concerned about things that might stress you or harm you. This protective instinct is one of the clearest indicators of deep attraction because it shows that she's already emotionally invested in your welfare. You're not just someone she finds attractive. You're someone whose success and happiness matter to her. Most men don't recognize this behavior for what it is because it's subtle and often expressed indirectly. She might suggest you get more sleep, or discourage you from dealing with toxic people, or find ways to make your life easier without making a big deal about it. This is her way of taking care of you without overstepping boundaries or appearing too invested too early. It's also her way of seeing how you respond to being cared for by someone who isn't obligated to care for you. Understanding these signals is only half the equation. The other half is knowing how to respond in a way that honors both her interest and your own masculine nature. The key is calibrated response. Not underreacting out of fear or overreacting out of excitement, but responding from a place of centered awareness. When you notice these signals, the most attractive thing you can do is remain exactly who you are, while becoming slightly more intentional in your interactions with her. Don't change your personality or your behavior dramatically. Simply bring more presence and attention to the moments you share. This is the essence of masculine confidence, the ability to receive interest without becoming desperate, to recognize attraction without becoming possessive, to appreciate connection without trying to control it. The woman who's secretly attracted to you isn't looking for you to transform into someone else. She's looking for you to become more fully yourself in response to her interest. All of these signals work together to create a complex symphony of attraction that most men never learn to hear. But once you understand the deeper psychology behind them, you realize that women are actually much more direct than you thought. They're just speaking a different language. The language of energy instead of words. The language of behavior instead of declarations. The language of consistency instead of drama. This isn't manipulation or games. This is how feminine attraction naturally expresses itself, when it encounters masculine energy that feels safe, strong, and authentic. Your job isn't to decode every signal or respond to every test. Your job is to remain so grounded in your own purpose, so clear about your own values, so committed to your own growth that you naturally attract women who are aligned with who you actually are. The moment you start trying to perform attraction, you lose it. The moment you start trying to control her responses, you push her away. The moment you start needing her signals to feel good about yourself, you become unattractive. Real attraction isn't about reading signals or passing tests. It's about becoming the kind of man who naturally attracts high-quality women because of who you are, not because of what you do. This means developing unshakable self-respect, building a life you're genuinely excited about, cultivating the ability to remain calm under pressure, learning to be present without agenda, growing into someone who can hold space for others without losing yourself. When you become this kind of man, you won't need to decode signals, because the right woman will eventually make her interest clear in ways you can't miss. And more importantly, you'll be emotionally mature enough to handle that interest wisely. The secret isn't learning what women want. The secret is becoming someone worth wanting, someone whose presence is a gift, someone whose attention is valuable because it comes from a place of choice, not need. This is the path of the integrated masculine, not the man who conquers or controls, but the man who inspires and provides, not the man who takes, but the man who creates value simply by being who he is. If this perspective has shifted something in your understanding of attraction and relationships, if you're ready to stop chasing signals and start building genuine magnetic presence, comment below. I control my focus. Let me know you're committed to developing the kind of deep, masculine confidence that naturally draws quality people into your life. The journey toward becoming truly attractive, not just to women, but to life itself, starts with understanding that everything you need is already within you. It just needs to be developed, refined, and expressed with courage and consistency. Remember, the woman who secretly wants you is waiting for you to become someone worth wanting openly. That's not pressure, that's invitation. The question is, are you ready to accept it?